Good evening, everyone. I must say it's quite a challenge speaking on Zoom. I can't see many of you. I don't know if you're smiling. I don't know if you're growling. So I can't really read your body language when I'm doing a good job or not. So I'll just do my thing. I want to take actually this opportunity and start by thanking Mrs. Olson for the incredible work that she does throughout the year. On behalf of Seed, on behalf of everybody who's inspired, you're doing a fantastic job inspiring women throughout the year. I know from behind the scenes how much effort goes into this, the arranging, the ensuring that the speakers are being booked and calling up the speaker, especially somebody like me who is very forgetful, making sure and getting nervous whether I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. And all the stuff that goes on behind it. I just want to say thank you very much. And Hashem should bless you with a beautiful year ahead, a Shana Tova, Masukah, a year of health and wonderful things together with all of us, amidst Hashem.
Thank you very much.
So, as was mentioned, the title of this talk is The Courage to Choose. And you'll soon understand why I've chosen this as the title. You see, we're fast approaching Rosh Hashanah, a few days. And hopefully by now, most of us have tuned into the frequency of the message of Rosh Hashanah. And if I was to ask you, what image, what atmosphere does that conjure up in your mind, in your hearts? I think for most of us, it's the idea that on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem is judging every single one of us as individuals and the world at large. It's a time of seriousness, of introspection, of fear. It's a very serious time. And I think it's true to say that it's not difficult for any of us to really appreciate what Rosh Hashanah is all about. All we have to do is to think back at this past year, what's transpired to so many individuals and Klal Yisrael as a community. It's been a difficult year. Wonderful things have happened as well. But to think that everything that took place last year was decided last year on Rosh Hashanah. And this year on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem's going to decide what's going to happen in the year ahead. And this is the words that we say, Hayoim Hara Soilom. We say that Rosh Hashanah is the birthday of the world. And on that birthday, Hashem does a reckoning. Hayom Yamud B'Mishpat Kol Yitzrei Olamim. Everybody stands in judgment. Hashem judges us. It's the beginning of the year again. It's the birthday of the year. It's the anniversary of the year. And Hashem takes a cheshbon, he takes stock, the input, the output. In a sense, decides who does Hashem need in the year ahead. And so that conjures up an image or an atmosphere of Hayom Yamud B'Mishpat. We're standing in judgment. Everyone is judged, a sense of seriousness and perhaps fear. But the issue with this is that on Rosh Hashanah, we almost do not mention a word about this. Almost. I mean, we don't ask Hashem for Mechila on Rosh Hashanah. We don't say sorry. We don't say vidu. We're not thumping on Rosh Hashanah. We leave that for Yom Kippur. I mean, the maximum, or would say the climax, is the Musaf, or Nasana Toikef, that incredible, powerful, emotionally charged tefillah that we say. That tefillah was composed by Rabbi Amnon of Mainz, a harrowing story where he was the leading Rav of that community, a wealthy man, a very clever man. And to cut long story short, they tried to get him to convert to Christianity. And after a tremendous amount of pressure, he said to them, give me 3 days and let me think about it. And of course, he didn't even have an inkling in his mind not even for one moment that he would convert. But as soon as he got home, he was so devastated that he even made believe that he was thinking about it. He went in a state of mourning. And to cut a long story short, he was dragged in front of the governor, and he was threatened either converting, going to get in serious trouble, and he was brutally tortured. They amputated, the story tells is amputated his 10 fingers, his 10 toes, and of course, that was the beginning of a very, very painful death. And a few days later, which was Rosh Hashanah, he asked to be brought into the shul on a stretcher, and he said this tefillah, this prayer. And as he finished the prayer, as he finished this tefillah on the Sana Tekef, he was nifta, he passed away. And he came to in a dream, he came to one of the Rabbanim of the time, and he basically gave over this tefillah and instructed this tefillah should be said worldwide in all the kehillas on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And this is this tefillah on Rosh Hashanah, again, which describes what happens on Rosh Hashanah. Every person's going to be saying, Mi yichya, mi yomas, who's going to die, who's going to live, how are we going to live, is it going to be tranquility, is it going to be difficult, etc., etc. But that is the only moment on Rosh Hashanah where we mention what's actually happening on Rosh Hashanah. The whole focus is something entirely different. The focus of Rosh Hashanah is Maloich al Kol Olam Kula B'Chvoidei. It's coronating Hashem, as it were. It's discussing Hashem's sovereignty over creation, over us. It's us begging Hashem to reveal himself. It's us accepting Hashem as a king. That's what it is. Long live the king, as it were. That's the whole focus of Rosh Hashanah. The question is why? The whole focus is about coronating Hashem. It's about Hashem's sovereignty over the world. Almost no mention at all of Al-Khait, or, for that matter, the judgment. That's the first question. And the second question actually follows the first. That if the whole focus of Rosh Hashanah is about Hashem's reigning over the world, Hashem's reign over the world, Hashem's sovereignty, declaring Hashem's sovereignty over the world, don't we do that every day? Don't do that twice a day. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad in the Shema. That's exactly what it is. I accept Hashem as the one and only King over the world, over me. Are we doing that every day? What's unique about Rosh Hashanah? And the third question I want to ask is, we mentioned before, like we say in Rosh Hashanah, after we blow, we say this 3 times in Musaf after blow, Hayoim Haras Olam. Today is the birthday of the world, the anniversary of the world. And therefore, Hayom Yama Mishpah, Hashem is judging every single one of us. And the question is asked, it's actually not the birth or the anniversary of the creation of the world. It's not. In fact, the anniversary is a few days earlier, Chav Zayin Elul. Rosh Hashanah is actually day 6 of creation, the day that Adam was created, that man was created. So when we say Hayom Harashem, today is the anniversary of the world, the anniversary of creation, it's actually not. It's actually the day that Adam was created. So we have 3 questions. Number 1, why is the focus of declaring Hashem's sovereignty over the world rather than the judgment? And if it is, what's different to every single day of the year where we say Shema Yisrael? We're doing that when we say Shema. And thirdly, when we say Hayom Haras Olam, today is the anniversary of the creation of the world, it actually isn't. It's day 6 of creation. How can we understand all of this? So I want to explain in the following way. We say, and many of you will be familiar with these words, we say, at the end of Oz Yoshe, we say, Ki Hashem HaMelucha. To Hashem is the kingship. Umoishel Bagoyim. And he rules over the nation. We have 2 words here. We have the word Melucha, which is the same word as Melech. And we also have the word Moishel, which is the name of a ruler. Means a ruler. A king, a ruler. What's the difference between the 2? What are these 2 expressions? So the Gaon of Vilna, the Vilna Gaon, explains as follows. He says that the word Melech, it describes, expresses a king, but a king where there's willing subjugation, meaning that the people willingly accept him as a king. That's a melech. And nowadays we will call that a democracy. That's what a melech is. It's willing subjugation to the kingship, to his kingship. That's a melech. A moshel, a ruler, however, describes somebody who's ruling with force, a dictatorship, a Taliban, a Saddam Hussein. Not a democracy, but rather a dictatorship. Says the Gaon like this. He says, Ki la Hashem hamalucha. Klal Yisrael relationship with Hashem should be that of a melech, where we willingly subjugate ourselves to the Ratzon Hashem, where we want Hashem's kingship. That's Ki la Hashem hamalucha. However, umoishel bagoyim, when talk about the other nations of the world, they don't willingly subjugate themselves to the will of Hashem. So to them, Hashem is a ruler. He's a moishel bagoyim. He's a ruler. And then we continue. We're davening for Mashiach. And then we say, Mashiach comes, Hashem melech al kol haaretz. We daven that there should be a time where Hashem is actually king over the whole world, where the whole world at large accepts Hashem as the king. Right now, it's Kil Hashem Mamlucha. It's only the Jewish people. It's only Klal Yisrael. They have a relationship with Hashem as that of a melech, where we willingly subjugate ourselves to Ratzon Hashem. Umoshel by Goyim, however, the other nations of the world right now, he's a Moshe. But the time of Mashiach Tefillah is that the time of Mashiach should be by Hashem the melech al kol haaretz. That's what we daven for Rosh Hashanah. We daven for Mashiach. By Hashem the melech al kol haaretz. By Hashem echad u'shmei echad. Where the whole world will have a relationship with Hashem. That Hashem is a melech, but not a Moshe. That's the Vilna Gaon. And the truth is that Hashem has created the world with the ability for us to make that choice, to willingly accept his kingship. And that is through Bechira. Hashem's created a world where we have Bechira. You see, Hashem could have created a world where we are total spiritual entities, but we have no choice. Imagine every time he wants to lie, suddenly you get an electric shock shooting through your body. Every time you did a kind deed or mitzvah tzedakah, a 50-pound note would fall down from heaven. We would be robots. We wouldn't have free choice. That would be a robotic existence. But as we know, Hashem created a world of oilam, which comes from the word ne'elam. Hashem hides himself. He hides himself in the form of nature. And our job is to find Hashem within that. Our job, our life's purpose is to make the right choices. That's how life becomes meaningful. That's how life becomes purposeful. Without that, life will be meaningless. So Hashem created a world where we have the ability to choose. We have the ability to make Hashem into a melech. How do we make Hashem into a melech? By making the right choices. Not through robotic existence, but rather through making the right choices. And he creates temptation. There's a concept of taiva. There's a concept of ra in this world, of bad in this world. And our job is to overcome those temptations, because the whole purpose of life is to grow. Growth, by definition, happens through challenge. Hashem challenges us with those choices. But when we overcome those choices, we become stronger. We grow to a high level. That's the whole purpose of creation. The purpose of creation is for us to grow. How do we grow? Through making those choices, through Bechira. Because Hashem doesn't want us to have a robotic existence. Hashem wants us to have a meaningful existence. And this straightaway answers the third question that we asked. Because we asked, is it true that Rosh Hashanah is the anniversary of creation? It's not. It's not the anniversary of creation. It's the anniversary of the creation of Adam. And the answer is, that's true, that's correct. But if you think about it, who was the first person who declared Hashem as a melech with choice? It was Adam. Because creation up till then, the animals, the vegetation, the malachim, there was no possibility of rebellion. Hashem was a Moshe, Hashem was a ruler. They didn't have choice. It wasn't possible to rebel. But the very first person who accepted Hashem willingly as a melech, the first one had free choice. You know who it was? It was Adam. It was Adam. He had free choice. He actually messed up on the very first day. But ultimately, he's the first one who had the ability to turn Hashem from a Moshel into a melech. For 6 days, Hashem was a Moshel as a ruler. Nobody had any choice. But Adam came along on day 6, and he turned Hashem into a melech. With his own free will, willingly subjugating Hashem, willingly himself to Hashem's rotzen. And that's what we say. This today is, in a sense, anniversary of creation, because for that purpose, creation was created. That's why Hashem created the world. He created the world so that we should make choices. The whole purpose of the world was created for us, for human beings to make the right choices. The purpose of this world was for us to turn Hashem from a Moshel into a melech, from a ruler into a king, willingly doing the rots in Hashem. And that is what happened on Rosh Hashanah. Adam was the first person to do that. That's what we say, Hashem melech, Hashem melech, grace, lovish, lovish. But we say in Rosh Hashanah, that was, Adam said those words. He declared Hashem as the melech. And since then, every year on Rosh Hashanah, our job is to declare Hashem as a melech. In other words, what we're saying is as follows. What is Rosh Hashanah all about? What we're saying is, Rosh Hashanah is about turning Hashem from a Moshel into a melech. From turning Hashem from my Moshel to my melech. Rosh Hashanah is about declaring to ourselves, Hashem is the king. Hashem is the superpower. Hashem is the one that reigns over the world at large, and me, Bashkocha Protis, individually. And I want today on Rosh Hashanah to be at your service. I want on Rosh Hashanah, I want to show you, Hashem, how much I want you in my life. And every on Rosh Hashanah, we go back to this place where we coronate Hashem as my melech. How? By understanding that I want to make choices. I want to make the right choices. And we have to understand this as follows. By definition, Hashem is a Moshel. He is a Moshel. By definition, he's a Moshel, whether you like it or not. He is a Moshel. He rules the world. We say, Hashem is every single day maintaining creation. It's not Osa Bereshis, it's Oisa Bereshis. He's constantly, every single day, maintaining existence. He's busy with the world. He's busy with us individually, every single day. Hashem didn't create the world and then pressed autopilot and sits in the armchair, as it were, and allows the world to run on its own. That's not what we understand. One of the fundamentals of Yiddishkeit is understanding that Hashem is constantly, every single second of the day, maintaining creation, busy with creation. He's a Moshel, whether we like it or not. But our job is to turn him from a Moshel to a Melech. And how do we do that? Through Bechira. Through making choices. And here I come to a very important point that I want to make. And the truth is, I'm talking very much to myself, particularly in this point I'm going to make, and you'll understand why. And I don't know many of you who are listening to this, and I'm sure many of you will understand what I'm saying, but everybody to them within themselves on an individual level. Now, I'll explain to what I mean. Because I'm certainly questioning to myself, are we really making free choices? Are we really daily making choices? So I want to talk about myself for a minute. I was privileged, and I've been privileged, to have been brought up in a home where, Baruch Hashem, wonderful parents who have given me the richness and the Masorah of Yiddishkeit. And I've been brought up, I've known nothing else. I've known nothing else. So I asked myself, why do I keep Shabbos? So I'll tell you, why I keep Shabbos? Because I keep Shabbos. Why do I put on tefillin in the morning? You know why? Because I put tefillin on the morning. Because that's what I do. Am I making a choice to keep Shabbos? Am I making a choice to put tefillin on? Or am I making a choice to eat kosher? And the answer is no. Because Rav Dessler explains that real schar and oynish, real reward and consequence only comes at the point when a person is battling with himself. When a person is actually battling between those choices. Should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? It's only at that point where a person gets true schar, true reward or consequence for their behavior. But if a person's not making choices and they're doing the mitzvahs by rote, when we say mitzvahs anashim b'lemoda, that's not really what Hashem wants from us. Hashem wants us to be making choices. And I'm sure that many of you on this call who have made amazing choices. And that's always so inspirational. But the question we have to ask ourselves, so we've taken ourselves to a certain level, but are we making the next level of a choice? Or the things that we've chosen have now become rote. They've now become the norm without me thinking twice. And that's a very serious question. Because if we're not making choices, then Hashem is a Moishel. Hashem is not a Melech. The only way Hashem is a Melech is I am making choices. I'm doing this for you because I want to do this. And this is a very serious question we have to ask ourselves. It's very easy to be complacent. It's very easy to say, well, look, I'm a frum Jew. I keep the Torah mitzvahs. But is that what Hashem wants from us? Of course Hashem wants us to keep the Torah mitzvahs. Of course he does. But if we're not making choices and we're just doing it by rote, that's not really what it's about. We need to be upping our shmiras hamitzvahs to a point where it is meaningful and it is difficult. And like I say, I'm talking to myself. You know, for me personally, Shabbos, I love my Shabbos. I live for my Shabbos. I start dreaming about my Shabbos on Monday already. So if I just go into Shabbos and I keep the Shabbos, big deal. What's the big deal? So I'll tell you what the big deal is. The big deal is if, let's say, for me personally, after a Friday night meal, and I'm really tired, and I want to go and relax, and maybe I pick up a paper and I want to go and read, and I say to myself, no, but maybe you should be learning. Maybe you should be learning. Shabbos is a time to connect spiritually. You've got more time. The phone's off. Maybe you should be learning. And I have that battle. At that point, when I take myself to my dining room table and open up a Chumash or Gemara, now Hashem says, wow, what a Shabbos. What a Shabbos. When I go put tefillin on in the morning, and I just do the thing, wrap tefillin around my hand without much thought, that's not a big deal. But my personal challenge will be, are you mechavan what you're doing? Are you thinking what you're doing? And that's a challenge for me. If I take that challenge and I just say, wow, that's amazing tefillin. The point I'm making is that each and every one of us knows deep from within what's by rote, where we're not giving it any thought, and where the challenge lies for me personally within that mitzvah. And that needs to be where we need to up our game. Because otherwise Hashem's a Moshe. What we're doing on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem is saying to Hashem, Hashem, I want you in my life. I want to choose you in my life. I want to have that bechira. I want to make that choice. And the only way to make that choice is to look inwards and with serious respect and saying, picking a mitzvah too, where can I grow? Where am I making those choices? Where can I make those choices? And not be complacent where we are. I want to share an amazing story. It's a story which happened a couple of years ago. That's probably more about 8 years ago. But to me, it was so inspirational. I'll explain to you why. I'm privileged to work at Seed, and I meet the most amazing people on a daily basis who are making choices. And I'm inspired every single day. They are my teachers to know what it means to make a choice. I'm sure many of you in this call have done so yourselves as well. So there was this couple who had made the choice, decided, okay, we're going to keep Shabbos. They were literally the beginning of their journey. And keeping Shabbos for them was very difficult. They were living in an era where there was no Eruv. The choice to switch off their phones, to switch off their entertainment, not meeting up with friends where they always did on Shabbos, not meeting up with family because they couldn't carry anymore. It was a huge mysterious nefesh, a very, very difficult choice. And they were just the beginning. I'd kept a few Shabbos, and I got a phone call. They were in a temporary house. They were moving house, so the house was in the middle of being finished. They were doing building work on the house. And they had to move in the house within 2 weeks because she was due to have a baby 2 weeks later. But the kitchen had to be finished before they could move in, before it was livable. But they couldn't finish off the kitchen before the tiler finished off his job. And the tiler called up on Friday to say, the only day that I have got now in the next 2 weeks is tomorrow, is Shabbos. And that's the only day I've got. Otherwise, it's going to be 3-4 weeks' time. And he calls me and says, Rabbi, I've got a real dilemma here. We've made a choice to keep Shabbos. But if the time doesn't come in tomorrow, that actually means I'm not going to be able to move into this house before we have the baby because it's not livable. The kitchen is not going to be working before he's done his job, which means we won't be able to move into the house. And this was a massive issue for them. But he said these words. He said, but Rabbi, I want you to know, we've asked the question, know that the answer to be no. We didn't have to ask the question. So please just give us the right answer. I was so moved, I can't describe to you. And I said, you know what? Let me speak to my rabbi because there could be some way of there were certain things that would go around my head. Maybe I could discuss. Maybe there would be a heter. I said, I'll call you back. I went off the phone. I spoke to my rav, and there was no way I could find a heter. So I called him back. I said, hello, and he says, Rabbi, we are ready for. He said to me, "We are ready for whatever you say." I said, Dan, I'm sorry. He says, don't be sorry. It is very, very difficult, extremely difficult. This is the biggest thing we've ever done, but we asked you for a reason. We're accepting it. Thank you very much. I just said, I want you to know, I was literally moved to tears. I can't tell you the inspiration that I got in that moment. Sunday morning, I got a phone call. He says, Rabbi, you're not going to believe it. I said, what? So I want you to know something. So Shabbos was out last night at 6:40. At 6:43, the tiler phoned up to say that my plans have changed. I'm going to come in tomorrow, which is today, which is Sunday, to finish off the tiling work. I could not. He says, do you see what happened? I said, do you understand what just happened? I said, the tiler didn't call you at 5 o'clock. Didn't even call it at 6:30. He called you 3 minutes after Shabbos was out. I said, you couldn't have had a bigger kiss from Hashem saying, well done. You've kept Shabbos. 3 minutes later, you get a phone call. Literally, Hashem says to you, well done. I love you so much. And you're not going to lose out. And the tiler was there on Sunday tiling. And what was so inspirational to me was, I was thinking to myself, do I get those messages? I don't seem to get those messages all that often. Such a clarity from Hashem. We all get messages from Hashem. We have to open our eyes and look. But such a clarity. And I realized, because I thought to myself, but how often do I make choices like that? How often am I faced with such difficult dilemmas in my avodas Hashem? And that really was a question for me. That was a real inspiration to me. That we need to be upping our game. And of course, the difficulty for this is because the biggest danger to growth is routine. The biggest danger is routine. It's deadly. And we all know, and I'll tell you something fascinating. In Kabbalah, the Satan The Yetzer Hara is a letter Samach. And the Samach is round. Because round connotes the concept of predictability. It's happening again and again. You come back to the same point again and again. Self-sufficiency. And a very interesting thing is, don't want to spend time on that, when you look at the Hebrew language, you have a word, whenever you have words in Lashon HaKodesh, have the same root in the letters. It means that there has to be a connection. The word matbeya, tes, ves, ayin, is a coin. Tabas is a ring. And teva, which is nature, is also got those letters. What's the connection? Exactly what we said. They're all round. Teva, nature, it's round. It's predictability. It happens again, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Self-sufficiency. I don't need Hashem chas v'shalom. That's teva. That's the danger of nature. And like I said, that is what in the Kabbalah, the Satan, the mighty Yetzer Hara, symbolizes letter Samach, because that's what's so deadly. We get into a routine, and we get to do things by rote. We lose the inspiration. So once a year, on Rosh Hashanah, this is the job. This is what we do in Rosh Hashanah. We rejuvenate ourselves with that commitment. We recommit our allegiance to Hashem. You know what Rosh Hashanah is about? Rosh Hashanah is the gift that Hashem gives us to take us back out of that routine, to break out of the routine, and to tap into the inspiration of saying to Hashem, once a day, Hashem, you know what? I want you in my life. You're a melech, not a moishel. And I explained and I understand why is that the focus of Rosh Hashanah. You know why? Because we're not ready to say sorry yet. Before sorry, we first have to make a choice. We have to first commit ourselves to Hashem. The first focus of Rosh Hashanah is to say, Hashem, you know what? I understand throughout the year there's been routine. But you know what? On Rosh Hashanah, Hashem, today I understand I want to be you. I want to be there for you. I want to serve you. In a certain sense, what it is, it's me screaming, long live the king. It's the day of coronation. It's the day of coronation. We recommit our commitment to Hashem. We say to Hashem, Hashem, I want you in my life. I want to make choices. When I do Torah mitzvahs this year, it's because that's what I want. That's what we do on Rosh Hashanah. Uru Yeshenim Mishanaschem. That's the purpose of the shofar. The Rambam says, Uru Yeshenim Mishanaschem. Wake up, you sleepy ones. It's a wake-up call. We often are sleeping through the year. Sleeping in the sense of, yes, doing the mitzvahs, but doing them by rote. And we stop and we say, Rosh Hashanah, no, we're not doing things by rote. We recommit ourselves to Hashem. Hashem, you're not a Moshe, you're a Melech. You're a king. And yes, maybe Shabbos comes to me naturally, but that's not why I'm keeping Shabbos. It's because I want to connect to you. And when there's a challenge, I want to overcome that challenge within the mitzvahs that I'm keeping. That's the beginning of the tshuva process. The tshuva process has to start with that. Once we recommit and once we understand that Hashem is my melech, then we start to say sorry. That's stage 2. That's a Aseret Teshuvah. That's from the day after Rosh Hashanah. Well, Rosh Hashanah is the first day of Aseret Teshuvah. When we have the 10 days, which leads to the climax, the Yom HaKodesh Yom Kippur, we actually say sorry. But we first have to commit ourselves to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And that also answers the Shema Yisrael. Because what we're doing is, on Rosh Hashanah, that's the coronation. That's long live the king. And then throughout the year, we remind ourselves, we reaffirm that commitment, we remind ourselves of that commitment every day in Shema Yisrael. Rosh Hashanah is the coronation itself, but we recommit. Shema Yisrael is we reaffirm, remind ourselves twice a day of that commitment that we made. So just to wrap up, Rosh Hashanah is a day where the total focus is Maloich al kol ha'olam kulo b'chvaydecha. Rebbeinu Shalom, we want you to reveal yourself in this world. We want you to be not just a Moshe, we want you to be a Melech. Not just a melech on us as individuals, but melech over the whole world. That's what we're waiting for. We want the whole world to willingly subject themselves to you, Hashem. It's when we're screaming, long live the king. That's Rosh Hashanah. Picture it. Imagine the king's traveling through your town and everybody's lining the streets, shouting, waving flags, screaming, red in the face, long live the king. That's Rosh Hashanah. We're committing ourselves to Hashem. What we're committing ourselves to Hayom Haras Olam. It's the anniversary of it. Adam made a choice. Adam made the choice on Rosh Hashanah, and that's what we do. We say, Hashem, we want to make choices. And I think the inspiration perhaps is that each one of us should look at ourselves individually. Everybody, Rabbi Zessa says, everybody's on their own individual level. No two people are the same. But we have to ask ourselves, where am I holding my kiyum mitzvahs? And wherever I'm holding my kiyum mitzvahs, am I comfortable? Am I too comfortable? Is it meaningful? Or has it now become something which we call mitzvahs nashim u'lamada? And if it is, to think, is there one mitzvah I might be doing already, but can I upgrade it to something that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, so I can show Hashem that I can overcome a challenge, that I can have bechira, that I can make a choice, and willingly say to Hashem, I want you as a melech. And mitzvah Hashem, we should all be inspired that Hashem should bless us all with a wonderful year ahead, of brachas, of simchas, of nachas, of just amazing things. We've had enough difficulty. Mitzvah Hashem should be a year of joy for all of us, for Klal Yisrael, for all of us individually. And of course, Mitzvah Hashem, we should be bringing Mashiach from here of Yameinu. Amen.